Investigators are digging deeper into the alleged double life of Rex Heuermann and digging into his backyard with heavy machinery in the desperate search for evidence in the Gilgo Beach murders on Long Island, New York.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Our Killer Obsession with James and Crystal, your true crime connoisseurs. Welcome back, and if you're new here, thanks for joining us, and we hope you hit that subscribe button before you leave. All right, today's video is going to be an update video on the Long Island serial killer because there is tons of information coming out about this guy, so we have a bunch to bring you.
Yeah. So we gave you a video a couple days ago about Rex Heuermann. He was arrested last week in connection with the Long Island serial killer murders, the Gilgo 4 out of Long Island. So this is an update video. It's been all over the news all week, along with another trial that we've been following, which we will bring you an update on next week probably. But this all over the news. This guy is accused of killing the Gilgo 4. Well, the 3 out of the 4. And he's the prime suspect in the murder of the 4th.
Yeah, they did say, I think it was today, that they have strong beliefs that he may be charged with the 4th as well.
And once we give you all the details, there's no possible way this 4th is not involved. It's ridiculous. So if you don't know what we're talking about, check out our previous video about the Long Island serial killer. We brought you the story of what the story is over the last few decades. The Long Island serial killer, the bodies found, tons of bodies actually, like 18 different bodies found.
A bunch on this little part of the island.
Tiny part of Long Island. Go check out that video and then come back to this one for the updates. So who is Rex Heuermann? Who is this guy that they arrested last week?
That's what we all want to know, right?
Right.
I mean,
well, he's a New York City architect. Worked at 36th and 5th Avenue in Manhattan. So that's a pretty upscale area.
Yeah.
He ran his own company called RH Consultants and Associates. He worked with a lot of high profile people. Even the Trump Association had once hired him to do whatever he does. He's an architect.
Okay.
He grew up in Long Island, went to Berner High School. Everybody's coming out of the woodwork now. They all know stories.
There has been a lot of people talking in this one so far.
Oh, yeah. So one of his old classmates, of course, comes forward and described him as a quiet guy who kept to himself but was extremely intelligent, which you'd have to be an architect.
Yeah, for sure.
So he was married prior to this wife. He had a previous wife who he had divorced in 1994. And then he married Asa. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Okay. And they had 2 children who are adults now but still lived with them currently.
Eesh. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He actually bought his childhood home from his mother also in 1994. Okay. And that's the home he grew up in and the home that all this is going on at now, the searching and all that. Gotcha. And the home is actually located across the bay from where the bodies were discovered.
Oh, so really close, huh?
Really close.
Ooh.
When you pull it up on Google Maps, Massapequa is like just a teeny tiny bridge from the beach.
Okay.
So his family is in complete shock. They're quoted as being in shock, totally embarrassed, and absolutely disgusted.
I mean, as expected, right? Because I mean, come on, if I just found out that my parent was a serial killer, my mind would be blown. And, I don't think I would believe it at first because you think you know somebody your whole life. Right.
And you're like, this has got to be a mistake, right?
Yeah. And that's happened in previous cases, too.
At first, maybe they didn't believe it because the police said, quote, "We had to kind of show them proof to let it be known who their father was behind the curtain."
Oh, man.
So I guess once they showed them this, they were completely, I guess, in belief after that they really kind of understood.
I mean, it must have been pretty solid, whatever they showed him, because the wife then went days after this broke and filed for divorce.
Exactly.
I mean, within days. So
yeah, so it's already over for them.
Yeah.
And if you think somebody's innocent, you're not going to file for divorce.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
she must really believe.
Yeah, you think you'd stand by your husband or wife if you thought they were innocent, but whatever they told her or has shown her really made her say that's over.
Right. So how did they come to figure out that this is the guy? After all these decades, they've had, in our other video, we talked about this, they've had other suspects in the past. So how did they zero in on Rex? Well, an eyewitness after one of the other Gilgo 4 were kidnapped or taken. They gave a description of the suspect and his vehicle. Now, this has sat for years, a good amount of years. Well, now they're saying that they zeroed in based on the description of the vehicle, and they searched records for the Chevy Avalanche, and they connected it to him and then started following him around. In the description of the suspect was 6'4" to 6'6", large, thickly built man, not muscular, just a naturally big person with glasses and dark hair. And so that fits Rex to a T. He's a very large guy, about 6'6" tall. So he is accused of the murders of Megan Waterman, Melissa Bartholomew, and Amber Costello. The fourth girl is Maureen Brainerd Barnes, and he is the prime suspect for her. As told in our previous video, all girls were found wrapped in burlap. So that kind of connects them all. And they were all within 500 feet of each other.
Really close.
Really, really close. So police have been searching the Massapequa home for like the last week. It's been all over the news. They brought a backhoe in. They were digging up the yard. They had cadaver dogs out in the backyard. They had
they had some like ground sonar technology as well, right?
Yeah,
where they're
they
like
did.
almost x-raying the ground to see if there's any anomalies underneath the ground.
Exactly, yes. So far, nothing's come out of that. We've been watching. They also searched his New York City office. They've pulled out boxes of evidence, filing cabinets, computers, tons of guns out of the safe in his home, and a large doll in a glass case.
Okay.
And they took that as evidence.
That's weird. I
Right.
would log that too, because that's
strange.
that's kind of odd.
Yeah, I thought so
But
too.
yeah, there was like hundreds of guns. There was like 95 handgun permits alone, I believe. And then he had many of long guns as well.
He owns properties other places too. So they're also searching his property in South Carolina, Nevada, and multiple storage units. So he has timeshares in Nevada that they're searching. And South Carolina, he owns a secluded property, which they pulled a second avalanche from. And they said his brother owns property very close by down there as well. They're also trying to find connections for him in some Atlantic City murders that are still unsolved. So Jersey is getting in this as well.
Man, I mean, who knows what he could be connected to? I mean, it's so close.
Right? And it's decades long.
Yeah.
So they're saying they have mountains of evidence. First of all, everybody heard all over the news this week of a soundproof room.
Right, which has ultimately come out to be kind of like, that one hearsay has gone.
Right. Like, was it leaked like that on purpose? So we heard that there's been some kind of like conspiracy with the police, or like they're trying to cover things up, or like work for each other. So is this some kind of leak by the police to kind of help that go? There's a lot of conspiracies out there that the police and the rich men of the neighborhood were all in on this. So is he just like a fall guy?
Right, which I guess you never know nowadays.
Right. So there's no soundproof room.
No, that has come out. They said it is just a vault for his guns so far, and that there is no soundproof room.
Right. So he had almost 200 guns in there.
Yeah,
right?
lots of guns. Yes,
lots of guns. But they said it's like a heavy duty vault in his house. The walls were up to 3 foot thick of concrete. I mean, so.
I mean, I guess essentially it could be somewhat of a soundproof room. I mean, if there's a cap on the top of this concrete vault as well. And the door is probably thick, just like
it was
the
a vault
walls.
Door. They said it was an actual safe door.
I mean, so I guess one could say it's almost a soundproof room.
Right. And they're not saying whether or not a victim has been murdered there, but they're hinting that it may have happened. Okay, so among the other items that they found in the house, searches on the computers were wild. So specifically searched, why could law enforcement not trace calls made by Long Island serial killer?
I mean, that's a pretty specific search, am I
really
right?
Specific.
Wow.
Also, why hasn't the Long Island serial killer been caught?
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so he's checking up on his own.
Yeah, he's
stuff
like,
here.
oh, hey, let's see what they got on me.
Even creepier, though, he started compulsively searching the victims, their photos of their families, their siblings, their children.
Oh, wow.
And the police say he was trying to locate these people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that makes you wonder why. Like, why are you trying to locate the family? because now he's alleged, or whoever the killer is alleged to have made phone calls with some of these people too. So now is he trying to track them down to torture them more through phone calls, or possibly do worse?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
I mean, why would you be trying to track down the families?
Right. Awful. Okay. Also, in the computer searches, he was searching abusive sexual videos. And also child pornography.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they found that on the computers too.
Oh, wow. And I heard too his burner phones had just as many bad searches and things as well.
Oh,
so
yeah. That was another thing I was going to say. They know about all the burner phones that he used to contact the victims, lure them to Massapequa. He would murder them and then ditch the phones. Although some phones were used for quite a long time, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of bring you like a timeline of what was going on. So they've been saying too that Rex's wife, whenever these girls went missing, Rex's wife was out of town. Family was out of town. The timeline is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, well, circumstantial-ish, huh? No, like
right. Like
solid.
Legit.
That's what it's sounding like.
Yeah. So for Maureen Brainerd Barnes, she's the one that he's the prime suspect for, not accused or anything yet. But July 6th of 2007 through July 9th of 2007, her cell was contacted by a burner phone 11 times.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then she went missing on July 9th, the last time that the burner phone had contacted her. Her phone was last traced in Manhattan, and he works in Manhattan.
Right. Okay.
On July 12th, her phone was used to check her voicemails.
Oh,
she was already missing since the 9th. So she's not calling anybody to tell him like she's okay.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they're saying he was using the phone to check her voicemails.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Melissa Barthélemy, she is one of the girls that he is accused of murdering. She was contacted by burner phone on July 3rd, 6th, 9th, 10th of 2009.
Wow.
July 8th, wifey traveled to Iceland. She was on vacation.
My goodness.
So she, Melissa, so wifey's gone on the 8th. Melissa goes missing on the 10th.
Oh, wow.
From New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wife leaves on the 8th. Allegedly, he could be on the phone searching on the 9th for a hookup or a girl.
Yeah, and he had already contacted her a couple of times before.
Right. So
wifey leaves the 8th. He contacts her on the 9th. And on the 10th, she goes missing on the 10th.
Wow.
Yeah. The burner was traced back to Massapequa Park and Manhattan on July 10th. So was Melissa's phone.
Wow.
His burner phone and Melissa's phone.
That's way too much just to be like, oh, that's coincidental or anything.
Exactly.
That's
right?
wild.
Like the timeline is legit.
Yeah.
Then her phone was used on July 11th and 12th to check her voicemails.
Oh my goodness!
Right?
Huh? Like so it's like
he's enjoying the family. Like, where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
Call me.
Yeah, listening to their probably terrible, concerned messages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then, on July 17th through August 26th, the killer used Melissa's phone to call her family, which we had talked about these phone calls before.
Yeah.
Where he said, "I killed her, and I'm gonna watch her body decompose."
Right.
And then he would call and ask the sister obscene questions too. And terrible.
Yeah,
just
horrible.
taunting these people.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah, those calls traced to Manhattan.
I mean, come
unbelievable.
on, you guys.
Right, unbelievable. Megan Waterman, another one of the Gilgo Four. On June 4th, 2010, wifey left to go to Maryland. Okay, and this is like every summer. So she's like summer vacation.
Oh, wow.
She's going on a trip, okay?
Okay.
So she left on the 4th. On June 5th, Megan was contacted by a burner phone, which was newly activated.
Ooh.
On June 6th, she goes missing. The burner is traced to Massapequa.
I mean, again.
And then the wife returns on the 8th.
Again. Burner phones, Massapequa, wife's out of town.
And they're saying these are traced like in the vicinity of his home.
Yeah, close.
Yeah. And then we're to Amber Costello. On August 28th, 2010, wifey goes on vacation to Jersey. Okay.
Not too far away, but far enough away.
Far enough.
Apparently.
You're not home, right?
Wow.
On September 1st, so a couple days, Costello is contacted by a burner phone traced to Massapequa Park.
Mm-mm.
Right. The phone was then traced to West Babylon, where Costello lives.
Oh, my
Okay.
goodness.
So supposedly, allegedly, he came to pick up Costello for a date. Well, story has it, based on her ex-boyfriend, former boyfriend, that he came home and Costello had locked herself in the bathroom and there was a gentleman there harassing her through the door.
Oh.
It came to blows and the gentleman left. Gentleman. Not the gentleman.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He left.
Yeah, wow.
He then was messaging her later like, that wasn't very nice.
Okay.
Do I get credit for next time?
Oh.
And then he kept calling her from this burner phone.
Mm-mm.
And he kept bugging her for a date. Okay, so that was September 1st. So then September 2nd, the evening of September 2nd comes, and he's still bugging her for a date. So she decides she's going to go on a date with him.
No.
There's another witness at the house, though, that sees the vehicle and the gentleman that picks her up.
Okay. So is this where
This is where
description
the
and everything
avalanche comes in.
Okay.
Yep, and the description of the suspect.
Wow. Okay.
Described as a large white male, 6'6", mid-40s, dark bushy hair, glasses.
Okay. And now, where is the guy that got into a fight with this guy allegedly? You know, I mean, where's he now? Can
Right,
he
I'm
be
sure
like,
he's been-
yeah, that's
well,
the guy I got into a fight with, and
yeah, and
identify
actually
him?
he
or...
said they've been sitting on this information for years.
Oh, wow.
Why haven't they done anything? This is where
Yeah.
the cover-up situation comes into.
Okay.
Are the police in on it? What else is going on in this community?
Which I think we hit on that too in our first video, because
Yeah.
when they first initially tried to do the investigation, the neighborhood kind of shut down and didn't want to help in any way, and it was
Yeah.
kind of weird. They
Yeah,
said.
if you have all these women coming up dead right, like literally across the street from your home, why wouldn't you be screaming from the rooftops? What is going on in my
in
neighborhood?
an upper scale neighborhood too, this ain't
Exactly.
like a hood, or this ain't like a
No.
lower end where that happens every day.
Yeah, it's
you
not
you
like
find
Central
bodies,
City,
right?
No.
This, you shouldn't be finding bodies out here in these areas, especially like this. So
Right. So all the calls from the burner phone to Costello were traced back to Massapequa. So Costello left with him on September 2nd and was never seen again.
oh wow, that's horrible.
September 5th, wifey comes home. So then on December 11th, 2010, Officer John Malia and his K9 detective Blue found Melissa's body first. It's reported, actually, they were just on the side of the road.
What I'm hearing is they were actually just kind of out for a walk or a jog or whatever it may have been. They were just happened to be there, and the dog happened to hit. It was just a fluke.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to point out is Shannon Gilbert is not included in this timeline.
Yeah.
But if she were to be included in this timeline, she actually went missing before some of these other girls went missing.
Yeah.
And she was not wrapped in burlap.
So maybe
And she was further away.
Could it have been a first victim? Could it have been a practice victim? Could it have been
Or not
somebody
at all.
else?
Right, because there are a lot of other bodies there. There have been other serial killers, connected to this location.
Uh-huh.
So is it just a coincidence? I thought immediately when I first watched the documentaries on television, I'm like, there's no way that Shannon's not included
Yeah.
in the Gilgo 4.
Right.
But now I'm not really sure. Based on the timeline and all of the evidence they have, I'm not really sure. I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot more going on in this neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, she wasn't in Massapequa.
No.
She ran from a home in Gilgo Beach.
Yeah. So
And there's
and
proven already where she was.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time connecting them now. Although I don't believe the police. The police are trying to say that she drowned and that it's not connected at all. There's nothing to see here type of thing. But there's definitely something else going on. She was strangled.
I mean, one way or the other, there's a girl there, and somebody put her there. Whether it's this guy or not,
Another guy. Yeah.
we need to figure that out.
Exactly. And like we said before, there's a lot more bodies that have been found there.
In the years, there's been a lot that popped up there.
Yeah. And they said, too, there's another burlap body found further north.
Further north, yes. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot to unwrap here.
There's a lot going on, man.
So when they found all four of the Gilgo 4, there was hair found on the victims.
Mm-hmm. 2 of them, right?
3.
3 of them.
Three
okay.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah. There was one male hair, and then the rest were female hairs.
Okay.
Okay, the hair back then when they first did it, you could do DNA and stuff, but they're saying that the hair wasn't suitable for DNA analysis at that time.
Okay.
Okay, this was 2010.
Yeah, I mean, DNA's around, but it just, I mean.
Yeah, is it that? Because it would have been out in the weather for a while, probably, you know.
Yeah, nowadays
degraded.
You just need just a little bit and they can pull a good DNA sample.
And they didn't really do it until more currently, which I'm going to bring you that timeline here. July 2020, the DNA profile was generated for the male hair finally in 2020.
Wow.
So that took a really long time.
Holy cow, yeah.
Yeah, and I think actually the female DNA was generated first, and they connected it to his wife first.
Wow.
Based on water bottles they stole out of their trash.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah, because they were watching him because of this avalanche and the description.
Yeah.
You know, and they
narrowing it down on several other things. Yeah,
and then they finally got the male DNA, and that's when the pizza box came out, which we'll get to that too. Okay, so he used his American Express card in the same area that the burner phones were used. His cell phone was pinged in the same area that the burner phones were used, okay? Detectives are saying, quote, significantly, investigators could not find an instance where he was not in a separate location from the other cell phones when such a communication event occurred. So they're basically saying when these calls are being made, they can't place him somewhere else. They can't give him an alibi. And they're trying to find an alibi for him. And you can't. He's there every time.
Every time.
Speaking of the American Express card, okay, it was linked to a Google Pay account that was used to pay for a Tinder account.
Uh-oh.
Right. His Tinder name was Andy. Okay. His account phone number is the burner phone.
I mean, and his picture too, right? On the profile, right?
Okay, you're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me.
Sorry.
Yeah, so he had a burner email linked to the burner phone. The email had dirty selfies of himself.
I mean, you guys, you can't make this stuff up.
Burner phone linked to the girls, linked directly to him and his credit cards and his selfies. One more, I don't know if it's really evidence, but an odd finding on top of the Tinder account and the selfies and everything else. He was doing searches for other serial killers, active serial killers, and their victims.
Really?
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, a little weird little tidbit there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. Obviously, we look up serial killers too, but we are not serial killers. So
that's true.
Is it weird for serial killers to look up other ones?
I mean, maybe not, especially if you've been doing it a long time. If he's been at this a long time, he could be in the running for being like one of the longest up there with like BTK and some of the others.
That's true. So on January 26th, 2023 was the pizza box situation.
Yeah.
So we talked about that in our previous video.
Yeah.
They were following Rex around hoping for some throwaway DNA. That's how they found the wife's DNA on the water bottles too.
Yes.
And they got it when he threw away a pizza box with crust he had eaten.
I mean, that's all it takes, man, is the water bottle, cigarette butt, pizza crust, whatever. If you discard a piece of trash, it's free for anybody to pick up. And if they are the detectives that pick it up, they can take your DNA. Simple as that. You don't need a warrant.
Exactly. So they had this swab from the pizza in January. They didn't send it for testing until March.
Oh.
Kind of weird. I don't know what the holdup was there.
That's weird.
But it wasn't tested.
I think I'd be like, let's get this going right now in case this is the guy. We need to get it figured out fast.
Yep. It was sent to the lab on March 23rd.
Well, hey, I mean, at least we got it finally.
So then on May 19th of this year, they catch him on surveillance video buying minutes on a burner phone.
Oh, yeah. I think, I don't know if everybody's seen that by now, but I've seen that picture as well.
And remember when the police were stating they kind of felt like it was time to jump in now because they thought he had his sights set on somebody else.
Yeah. And I mean, this seems to be his MO is getting the burner phones. Now I just wonder if it's going to come out if his wife had a vacation planned coming up.
Summer vacay. Yeah.
I mean, was he getting ready again, you guys?
That's the adequate timeline.
I mean,
they seem to think so. They jumped in, arrested him at the office.
Yeah. And I did hear too that they wanted to do it there That was a strategic move as well, because they didn't want to do it at the house, because they knew that he had at least about 95 handgun permits. So they knew he had a lot of weapons in his house, and it was just a strategic move to take him down somewhere else besides that house where he was heavily
it's
armed.
Smart. You never know when people are desperate what they're going to do.
You never know, man.
So later, the hair came back positive with a match with the pizza, with a match with Rex. So on July 13th, they arrested him at the office, like we were saying. And on July 19th, his wife filed for divorce.
That's fast.
That is really fast.
That is really fast.
I wonder what the evidence was that they showed. I want to know what they know.
Oh, that would be awesome. Maybe someday we will. Maybe someday she'll come out and she'll say, "This is what was going on." But I'm pretty sure she probably can't right now, because this is an ongoing investigation and they're trying to get all the evidence they can against this guy and make sure it's solid.
Right. And now we talked about this before too. Even though her hair was found on 3 of the women's bodies, the police say she was not involved, that it was transfer evidence.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like we said then too, it so makes sense, because I pull a bunch of your hairs off me almost daily.
All the time.
So I get the whole transfer. I'd be at work and I'd pull a hair off of me of yours. So I get that.
So now the question is, did she know? Did the family know?
It don't sound like it, man.
No, but there's people out there, skeptics, that are like, how do you not know?
Yep, that's true.
You got a killer for a father and a husband. How do you not know?
I mean,
there's got to be leakage.
Or not. I mean, you go back to like BTK, his family, his daughter, they had no clue.
True, but Happy Face's daughter also didn't know, but now she says when she looks back, there's little things that were odd, that she didn't think of odd at the time. Like there's a song her dad used to sing from the 80s, and it was like "Leave Her Down by the River."
Wow.
And he would sing it all the time. She said at the time she thought it was weird, but she didn't make any connections.
Yeesh.
You gotta watch our episode on the Happy Face Killer and you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the wife's friends say there's no way that she knew. They thought he was a stand-up guy. Wife thought he was a stand-up guy.
Right.
And that it's taking a huge emotional toll on her and the kids.
I would imagine it would. I mean, really. Yeah.
And they said too, they haven't been back to the house since. The house was still being tore up and investigated and stuff pulled out of it as of Sunday.
Yeah. I do believe they are wrapping up the investigation though at the house, and they are now in talks of what to do with it. The neighbors already want it gone.
Yeah.
The mayor and officials or something like that, I believe, are already thinking about it as well. So I think the investigation is wrapping up, and now they want the house gone.
The town's talking about buying it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't know what you'll do with it to make that ever kind of easier or go away, but
you'd have to tear it down, right? Just like the Idaho house.
Yeah.
So like we were talking to earlier, tons of people coming out of the woodwork now. Everybody knew him. Everybody had a brush with death,
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot of these women, also sex workers, coming on now. And are their stories true? A lot of people just want in the limelight.
Yeah. You always hope that these ones out here are telling the truth, and not muddying the waters or anything like that in the investigations or what may be.
Exactly.
But you never really know who's chasing fame or.
Right. There's one woman who had not a brush with death. She is another YouTuber, and she does like realty information in New York. Okay. So he's a big architect in New York City.
Okay.
And about a year ago, they did a story with him in an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And she quoted that what really stood out to her was his attention to detail. And she said he wasn't intimidating, but he was imposing, very imposing because of his large size.
Okay.
And she said he was at least a head above her with very large hands and very strong. She said it was like shaking a brick of marble.
Wow. Yeah. And that's everybody. So, I mean, I've seen him during his perp walk, I mean,
yeah,
he's a big guy, dude. He's a big guy.
Well, I think I feel like her story is very believable. It wasn't like some sensational, I was scared for my life and he was such a creep. He hasn't been caught all this time because he wasn't purposely putting off creepy vibes.
Mm-hmm.
He knew how to hide in plain sight,
Right.
which we see all the time.
Right.
So all
Right.
these people coming forward saying, "Oh, I knew it. Oh, I knew them neighbors were weird."
I mean, after the fact,
Right.
everybody's gonna be like, "Oh man, I knew it because of."
Is hindsight 2020, or are they just trying to be part of the story?
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot of hype going on right now. I mean, this one is crazy too.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one to follow. And he
Mhm.
is due back in court on August 1st. So
Okay.
we will definitely be following to see when the trial begins, so we can follow along with that and bring you guys all the details on that as they come out. I want to know what you guys think. Was Shannon Gilbert part of this story? And is there a big police cover-up or conspiracy? You know, give us your conspiracy theories. Let us know what you guys think.
What do you guys think, man?
I'm really interested to hear.
I don't think the wife knew. I don't think anybody knew. But I guess there could be something bigger going on here.
Exactly. And I think if he is not connected to more than these 4 girls, that would be incredible.
I mean, that's just wild. Then is it like, hey, everybody, this is the dumping grounds? Like, this is where all of
Right.
us serial killers bring our bodies, right here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
18 bodies since 1982.
Yeah, and I mean, just like within a short span,
Like
there's like 10 of them or something like that. I mean, like,
Yeah, like a mile, 2 miles. It's
Yeah.
really small.
it's really, really small.
Yeah, amazing.
And it's just off the side of the road, too.
Yeah, they just said main highway, beach on one side, beach on the other, tall grass and stuff, and they're just
Mhm.
pulling over. They did say it's really dark along that stretch of the road, so you
Mhm.
could sit there for minutes
Yeah.
before somebody comes along and sees you. So
You could probably get in and out
Quickly.
very quickly, and being able to see everything that's coming your way because of it being so dark.
yeah, keep watching so that we can update you guys next time when more details come out.
All right. And as always, you guys, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. We really appreciate you being here with us, and we will catch you next time.